Welcome back to another episode of Creature Madness, hosted by me, Gus from Askewed Reviews. Now, if you don't happen to know what Creature Madness is, let me tell you a little bit more about it. This was actually a creation by my friend Matthew over at Horror Madness, where he decided to create a movie club. Now, everyone in this club, we all watch the same creature feature movie, and then each of us does our own review on that film. Now, aside from myself and Matthew, the other members of this club are Bambi, Ryan, Amariah, Karen, Jen, and Ashley. And speaking of Ashley, it was her turn to choose the film. And she chose the 2024 film Monster Island, directed and written by Mike Willion. So this is a creature feature that definitely has a classic horror movie feel, especially with the creature that they decided to go with. So let me tell you more about the concept for this film. The movie takes place in the 1940s during wartime. Now, it starts off on a Japanese vessel where we meet two of our main characters. One is Saito, who happens to be a Japanese trader, or at least who they're considering a trader, and the other is a British soldier named Bronson. Now, since both of these soldiers are prisoners and are pretty much considered on the top of the list of people they don't like on the ship, they are chained together. Now, right after this, the ship is attacked and a torpedo hits. But the two of them do manage to launch themselves over the railing and into the water, and potentially to safety. The two of them do manage to make their way to a nearby island, and they even manage to find some supplies that have washed up from the wreckage. But here is the big issue. Bronson only speaks English, and Saito only speaks Japanese, so there is definitely a language barrier. Additionally, as a heads up for anyone else who's watching this film, at least when I saw it, it didn't automatically have subtitles up for the Japanese soldiers, so I do recommend making sure that your subtitles are currently set to go right from the beginning of the movie. Now, of course, it would be one thing if this was just a survival film of two gentlemen on an island trying to see if they can make it. But this is, of course, a horror movie, so they're not alone on this island. Along with some potential other survivors from the incident, there is also a monstrous creature on the island known as the Orang Icon, which, when translated, apparently means fishman. So, with these two not really being able to speak to one another, can they somehow manage to work together to not only survive on the island, but stop their amphibious attacker? First, I'm going to mention some of the things that I did like about this movie. Number one, when it came to our two main characters, I do find them both very likable. Second, when it comes to the creature, I loved how the creature looked. I thought the practical effects for this movie were really good. And three, the atmosphere and look of the island also looked great. Now, as for some of the things that I wasn't a big fan of, even though I like the two main characters, I just feel like they didn't get enough time to really develop or fully get that bromance that they're trying to showcase by the end of this movie. I don't know, it just felt like it was missing something for me to really be able to connect with the two characters. Second, they changed the name of the movie to Orang Icon to Monster Island for English viewers, to which I understand that, but at the same time, if you're going to call something Monster Island, I really do want to see monsters and not just one creature. And lastly, when it came to the actual plot of the movie, I just felt this was kind of weak or just kind of lacking. It felt more like this could have been an episode of a television series rather than a full length movie. So, at least for me on my scale, I'm going to give this film a 2 out of 5. And if you'd like to check it out for yourselves, it is currently streaming for free on Shudder. And do keep in mind, there are apparently other movies called Monster Island, which one of our other members decided to watch instead at first and then realized it was this one. Now, as a quick spoiler warning, this is the part of Creature Madness where I go a little bit more in depth about the creature that appears in the film. So, if you haven't seen this movie yet, feel free to go watch that and come back to this. Or if you have seen it, or in general, if you're just interested on finding out more, feel free to stick around. So, let's talk about the creature from the film, the Orang Icon, which obviously looks almost exactly like the Gill Man or creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, this creature is amphibious. It is also very strong. It apparently can hop like a frog at very big distances. And of course, it appears to be almost indestructible, like So much happens to this thing, and it just keeps going. Also, as we discover in the film, it does have a mate that is no longer around, but they do have the ability of having babies. They seem to lay this kind of like gelatin like sack. Reminds me a bit of a shark's egg. And then somehow they put it in this almost mucus webbing type stuff, and then they'll hang it in a cave until it's ready to hatch. And then just a few more additional things about the creature. It does have very sharp claws, it has sharp teeth, and apparently it can be very stealthy at times. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Creature Madness. And if you'd like to see what everyone else in the group did for their review on this film or any of the other movies that we've done, just look up the hashtag Creature Madness.